Hello, everybody. Greetings to all. Welcome to the Snooker Hall podcast. I'm Dan Murren. It has been 4 weeks since the previous episode, and a lot has happened, actually. The Scottish Open has come and gone. Christmas and New Year have come and gone. But the snooker season continues. In a few days, the most prestigious invitational event in the sport will begin. The top 16 players in the world will compete to lift the Paul Hunter Trophy, named after the great three-time winner of the Masters. To look ahead to what will surely be a wonderful week of snooker, we have a very special guest on the Snooker Hall podcast today. She will be in attendance at some of the days at Alexandra Palace, and she's a keen snooker aficionado. I wanted to use that word. I'm very happy to welcome Kellie Barker back to the Snooker Hall podcast.
Hi Dan, that's quite the welcome. Hopefully I can live up to expectations.
I think we'll be okay.
Good to be back.
No, thank you for coming back. Before we kick off talking about the Masters, I always like to ask non-professional players what their high break is when they're playing. What's your high break?
Well, it's exactly 30, which I made a few weeks ago on a star table, I might add. So that was very nice. But I'd love to improve on that a little bit.
But you say it was a few weeks ago. That would suggest that you have been playing a little bit recently?
I've been playing as much as possible recently. In November, I went to the Ladies Open Day, which was at Landywood, which you may have heard about. And it was a fabulous day. We had coaching. There was some other players there from the main tour. There was some young girls from the main ladies tour. There was some young girls who'd perhaps never played before. And it was a fabulous day. I had coaching from Tessa Davidson. And I took away what she told me and put it into practice. And a few days later, I made my 30 break. Haven't got near it again, I must say. But I'm a slow work in progress.
So the ball that got you to 30, was that a red or a colour? Do you remember?
I think it was the black.
Black,
yes.
Okay.
So
then you missed the next red.
I did, yes.
See, if anything, that's slightly better, because if you miss a black to make it to 37, that would be a little bit more frustrating.
Yeah, could have been. I remember, though, the black for 30 was a slightly thin cut. And all I could think of when I was down on the shot was, oh, if I get this, it'll be 30. Come on. And luckily, luckily it went in.
Yeah, a thin cut, and immediately I think of a thin snick. And yeah, Dennis Taylor comes to mind straight away. But 30, it's not shabby, it's...
Well, I'd love to do that every time I practice and play, but it's such a difficult game. I mean, you'd think the more time you put into it, the easier it gets, but snooker isn't really like that. I feel like I'm still hundreds and thousands of hours away from being, reasonable. So maybe I need to see Tessa again for some more coaching, because I'm sure it was because of her last time that I got my 30 break.
Well, there wouldn't be many better people to learn from than Tessa with her record in the game. It's, yeah. No, good for you, though. I'm pleased to see people actually taking a shot with things like this. It could be the best thing you ever did, It's,
absolutely. I just love playing, and from that ladies' day, I took a great leap of faith, because I'd been scared to join my local club, as you don't get many women in there, and I've got no one really to play with locally. So, but after that ladies' day, I just thought I really want to play more snooker, and I've got to bite the bullet and walk into the club on my own. So I did, and I went to my local one and joined. And the club actually has a WhatsApp group for members to, arrange friendlies between themselves. So I joined the WhatsApp group, and I've met up with one person who we've had a couple of nights at the club, and person that's similar standard to me. So, but yeah, really enjoying it, and joining that club has been one of the best things I've done in recent times.
I've spoken to a few people about the women's tour, and even up to fairly recently, I was kind of ignorant to some of the facts about lack of funding, lack of exposure, things like that. But I spoke with Mandy Fisher, and yeah, she opened my eyes to some of the challenges, some of the strengths of the women's tour. But when you see, I remember at the shootout just a month ago, give or take, and we saw Elise Scott. She's a teenager, and she's facing Bai Yu Lu, the women's world champion. And okay, she lost the shootout match, but she lost it because of one shot.
Yeah.
Over a 10-minute match, or 10-minute frame, should I say. She messed up one shot on the rest. She was stretching. I think maybe she panicked a little bit. You know, maybe the occasion got to her. I think she's what, 15? Maybe 14?
Something like that, yes. She's a cracking young player. She really is.
Yeah.
And
she was good.
She was at the Open Day, and I'm really hopeful that she, goes on as she gets a bit older, and she could be, another main tour player from the ladies' game one day. And as someone who started so young and is already that good, let's hope she goes on. She could be a big hope for the future.
Yeah, and even the way she spoke afterwards and the way she spoke before, like, sounds like so patronising to someone who's a teenager, but she seems nice. I haven't spoken to her myself, but yeah, she seems like really nice, and seems like she's kind of down to earth. And
absolutely, and I think the main thing when you're 15 is that you're keen, and she's good at the game. She's improving all the time, hopefully, and let's hope she carries on before maybe alcohol and boys get involved.
No, if she stays focused, yeah, she's got a shot, because I thought she played really well. She handled it well, apart from one shot. And I think anyone can make that mistake, really, in the wrong circumstances. She just kind of scuffed the ball. Maybe she didn't. It might be something simple, like she didn't chalk the cue properly, or in the heat of the moment. But I know she's a teenager. Yeah, we can't pick her up too much, because that's what we do. And
I mean, nobody would have thought any of the worse of her if she hadn't potted a ball, but she did so well that frame, and was, like you say, she was so close to winning. I'm sure it's given her massive confidence to want to do it again, and do better and keep improving. Like I say, 15, she's got all her improving still ahead of her, really. So I'm really hopeful for her, and I'll definitely be keeping an eye on her name in the results sections of the future.
Unless you get drawn against her in one of these tournaments,
which case I get drawn against her, yes.
You do not want her to do well.
Well, I mean, having seen her in the shootout, I'll be a bit worried if I have to play her, but we shall see. Yes, I've entered the English Ladies National Championship, which is in Leeds at the start of March, which I'm looking forward to. And then the big one at the end of March, the Ladies British Open. So I really could get drawn against anybody in that. So it's quite exciting. I don't have any aspirations to do too well, but I think the Ladies Open Day has really given me a push to be playing and be around like-minded women, really, because I barely know anyone who, well, I don't know that many who like snooker, apart from the people I've met at tournaments. So, but certainly not locally. And so to for us all to gather up and play a tournament, and having been a fan for so long, I just want to see, really, what it's like from the other side, being a player. I've bought my waistcoat, so I'll at least look the part, even if me cue doesn't do the job.
Even if the cue doesn't do what it's told, yeah. It's but one of the tournaments in Leeds, you said, where's the other one?
That one's the English Women's National Championship, which is only for women in England. So I believe it won't be all the top players. But I think Rebecca Kenner is usually there. Tessa Davidson, Elise should be there, I would think. But yeah, I think that's a good sort of starting one. And then the British Open will be a few weeks later. So March is looking quite busy.
And where's the British Open?
At the Landywood near Walsall.
Oh, Landywood. Okay, yeah. Okay. It's a bit of travelling, but that's what you got to do if you want to play. So yeah.
Two great clubs. I've not been to the Northern Snooker Centre before, so looking forward to seeing what that club's all about, because it's always had such a great reputation over the years. And Landywood, I went there for the open day, so that was such a great club as well. Just beautiful star tables. Yeah, if you don't like that club, then snooker probably isn't for you.
Yeah, it's one of those places that you hear about, the Northern Snooker Centre. It just seems to have that bit of reputation, I guess. It's like Landywood, like the Ilford Snooker Club back in the 90s had all these players. It's But they are, Leeds, kind of north, Landywood, Midlands, we would say.
Yeah, definitely. Not too far from Birmingham.
Okay, so Walsall, yeah. Okay. But in the south, there is another big tournament happening. It kicks off on Sunday. See that segue? That's good.
I haven't qualified for that one.
Well, maybe next year.
Maybe, you never know. Oh. The funny thing was, I've entered the British Open, and then I got a thing as well saying I'm eligible for the seniors of the British Open as well. It's like a little side event, and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm that old. I thought, wow, I knew I wouldn't make the under-21s, but to be called officially a senior.
When you're kind of just starting out as well.
Exactly. I'm a beginner really, but I'm already a senior, so yeah. Don't know how to feel about that.
Maybe it could be a good thing though, in terms of hustling and being a shark.
Well, you never know.
But people kind of know who you are though, so you wouldn't be able to kind of fly under the radar as much as others. So they might think you're a seasoned veteran on the table, but yeah. Okay. But you are going to the Masters.
I am. I'll be there for the first 3 days, so looking forward to that, and then back for the afternoon of the semi-final Saturday.
Okay. Wow. The Saturday. So that was, I can't remember if it was the afternoon or the evening where Shaun Murphy made the maximum. I think it was the afternoon, wasn't it?
It was the afternoon last year, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I took my mum to the snooker.
Oh, you were there?
The first time at live snooker,
wow.
During that day. And it was my first 147 in person after all the years. Never seen a maximum.
Oh, that's
live.
Amazing.
But I saw it on that day, and my mum, her first snooker session in person, and she gets a maximum.
Wow. And, well, I was lucky enough that my first ever match was I got a 147 as well. So nice. Maybe that's what hooked me in.
Well, yeah, I say, who is your 147?
My first one was the 1997 Charity Challenge final, Hendry v O'Sullivan. Hendry led 8-2. Ronnie got back to 8-all. A flurry of centuries from both of them, and then Hendry made the maximum to finish. So, it was an amazing day.
Nice. Yeah. Well, probably the two greatest players of all time. One would
say.
Yeah. No, it's weird how that works. You can get the bug. You see I guess it would be like going to the darts, seeing a 9-dart finish, which apparently is harder than a 147 now. People are saying nonsense. But
I don't want to brag, but I did go to darts once as well. I've been to darts 2 or 3 times, and I was there on the night Phil Taylor made 2 9-darters years ago.
Oh my God.
So I don't know where my luck comes from, but I've seen I think last count I'd seen about 18 or 19 147s over the years. And yeah, those 2 9-darters. And I've only been to darts, like I say, 2 or 3 times. So I think I've used most of my luck with that little lot.
Well, if you consider how many sessions of snooker you've watched in arenas, it's a few, we'll say. So there's a chance. Oh, there's always the chance, of course, but it's a numbers game, right? If you go to one session, maybe you'll be lucky, like my mum was, but eventually you'll get one. But I suppose it's helped. You went to your first live snooker, you get a maximum. But these are two of the greats, Ronnie and Stephen. But then when you're going to the darts, you get Phil Taylor, the power. Like, I don't think anyone would argue that he is just the single greatest darts player ever. So you've got a chance. If you're seeing the best, they're going to produce the best. Maybe that's...
Maybe so.
You give yourself a shot by seeing the best. By seeing the best players.
Maybe. But I was at Ryan Day's 147 in the qualifiers 2 or 3 years ago as well at Ponds Forge. So I think I've just got lucky over the years. They're not all, world championship or the best time. I've seen odd ones in qualifying and other events. I've just been very, very lucky over the years. But like you say, if you watch enough, then I think the luck comes to you sometimes.
Yeah, it's a numbers game. And the more you try, the more luck. What was it? Was it Gary Player, the golfer? He said it's weird. The more
you practice, the luckier he gets.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I think some people were just angry. Oh, Judd Trump got too many flukes and he doesn't deserve that title. And it's like, okay, he's won like 30 titles. A little bit of luck is going to happen at some point. But yeah, wouldn't you know it, the player who puts a lot of time in gets a little bit of luck and actually takes advantage of it. It's
generally that player who spends more time than not at the table. So maybe he's gonna get that bit of luck more.
Yeah, it's true. Do you know what? I've never actually looked at it that way. If you're sitting in your chair, you can't be lucky. If you're at the table, you've got a chance.
Absolutely.
Of getting some luck. I've never really looked at it like that. But it is true. Yeah, it's kind of a philosophy, mathematic question, really. But it's it's true. It's true. And I was listening to Talking Snooker just after Christmas, and it was the episode with guests from the Wine Rack, and it was Jenny was saying that she was in the Crucible, or she was there for pretty much all of the sessions, and I've mentioned it a few times. Sometimes you just get greatness, and if you see the greats, you've got a chance of seeing something great. But I've mentioned it a few times. It's probably the worst session of snooker I've ever watched live. Pang Junzhu versus Zhang Anda.
Oh.
That was and Joe Perry said on comms, "This is tough going." I was like,
yeah.
Yes, it is. But it's the complete opposite. And when you get someone like Sean Murphy at the Masters, he loves that occasion. You know he loves it. And I don't know if it was just his motivation to produce something fantastic in a place like Alexandra Palace in front of 2,000 people. But that's got to be a motivation for him, because I know he's a Marmite figure. I think Sean Murphy's fantastic in many ways. And yeah, I'm really grateful for him for giving me that memory of a live 147, because you could see it, and after 5, 6, 7 reds and blacks, it's like, there's a chance, but you never want to get too excited, because all it takes is one mistake.
I think as well, Sean's a showman, isn't he? And he loves and he thrives on that crowd.
Absolutely, yeah.
The biggest arenas. If he's down the rankings a little bit and he ends up at the qualifiers, he'd go and he'd still enjoy it because he's a snooker man through and through. But put him in a big arena with a packed crowd, and I think that's where you get the best out of him. And speaking of the Masters, he opens up on Sunday against Wu Yiza, and I think that could be such a great match to start the tournament with, just because I think Wu could be someone who really has some crowd on his side as well because of the way he plays and his hair, and he's such an attractive player to watch when he's scoring. So I think if he settles quickly, that could be a real humdinger. And I don't think there'll be much safety involved.
No, I picked that out as one of the two matches of the first round. The other one for me is Judd Trump and Ding Junhui. That should be a cracker. That really, really should be fantastic. And what day is that's on the?
That's the Wednesday afternoon. So
okay.
I mean, Wednesday's an amazing day.
Yeah, Ronnie and Neil as well. All former winners, of course. All four of them. Fancy some predictions?
Oh, why not? Yeah.
Let's do it. So, as opposed to chronology, I thought we'd just go through in terms of how the draws worked out. So I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. Shaun Murphy, Wu Yiza, okay, in terms of entertainment, as a spectacle, I'll be disappointed if it's anything less than, well, A-. I want fireworks in that match.
I think
we'll get it.
I think we'll get some as well. I think, unless Shaun has a bit of an off day, just because it's more his backyard almost, I am going for him to win it. But Wu, I think if he can settle quickly, he can certainly give Shaun some problems, and he's so much improved in the last, 18 months or so. Who's to say he can't? If he gets inspired and wins the match, he could really go on a little run and do really well in the Masters. But I do just about think on this occasion Shaun might have a bit too much for him. But I would say 6-3, 6-4. Certainly not any less than that.
And I think we'll see some centuries.
Oh, I think match. So.
Surely,
yes.
At least one each, I would say, because Wu, his game is built on knock in a long one, clear up, and he does it really well. I think there are some things about his game which he does need to improve, and I have no doubt will improve as time goes on, because he's still 21.
He's
something like 22.
He's certainly no more than 23, if that. But yeah, he's still on the upward curve. He certainly hasn't reached his peak yet, and he's this good now. So I think for Wu, it's all about whether he settles quite quickly enough on his debut. But like Shaun, he's another one who could thrive on the crowd. And
absolutely, yeah.
And if he starts well, say he made a decent break in the first frame, maybe with if he throws an exhibition shot in there that goes in, the crowd could really take to him. I think it really could be a great atmosphere that first afternoon. And with Shaun being the defending champion as well, I think it's the best match they could have started the tournament with, I think.
Yeah, it's poised 6-3, 6-4, I think is fair. I also think Shaun will come out on top. I think if Shaun gets a good lead early, I think it will be his. The only banana skin you might say is, well, I would say anyway, is if Wu does go 2-0 up, will that give him the buzz? And if he is playing with confidence, as you say, he is a showman as well. I think he loves that attention. I think he likes it. And that's why he's got the mullet, which I think suits him, actually.
I think he looks brilliant. There's a little bit of early 90s James Wattenaar about him. And I just think he looks the part. He's playing the part at the moment. Some of his recent snooker has been incredible. That tournament when he had, in some ways, was maybe, well, for me, it was one of the highlights of the season so far, and there've been a few. But yeah, just looking forward to watching him, and I hope he settles, and I hope even in whether he wins or loses, I just hope that it's a great game for the crowd and really sets the Masters off in fine style.
So I think we're both going for Shaun Murphy to win that one.
I think so.
Mark Selby, Zhao Guodong.
Well,
That is
I have predicted this will take a little longer than the Murphy Wu match. Not in a bad way, but I just think these two are more the match play, a bit more traditional, old school style. But that's not to say that they both won't, knock them off the lampshades given half a chance. So I do think Selby. I've sort of tipped Selby to win this one pretty comfortably, 6-2, 6-3. But from what I saw of the Championship League earlier, Zhao Gudong was playing pretty well as well. So maybe I'd do well to revise that prediction. But I'm going to stick with it and say Selby to win pretty comfortably with that one.
Well, I'm going to go against you on this one. I think Zhao Gudong can take this. I think he's a really methodical player. He's mature. He's so graceful around the table. In the cauldron of Alexandra Palace, I don't think he'll be overwhelmed at all. He's a two-time ranking event winner now. He made the Champion of Champions finals last season. He's been on these big stages now.
Absolutely.
And one thing I will say, actually, is I got a little bit of, I wouldn't say stick, but a few people strongly disagreed with me. But a lot of people said that the match of the World Championship was John Higgins versus Mark Williams. And I kind of said, well, if you take away the drama and the characters involved, then it wasn't that good. Take away all the good stuff, it's not as good. But I thought an underappreciated match was Zhao Gudong, John Higgins in the round before. And I thought he played really, really well. And more or less against anyone else who wasn't as experienced and who had the know-how of John Higgins, I think he would have come through. But
he certainly could have done. I remember I was in the Crucible for all three sessions of that Higgins Gudong game, and I think Higgins did his best because it went to an unscheduled fourth little session. They had to come back on the Saturday night, and I think John almost did his best to not get over the line, but somehow he did, as he generally does, and but for that, then Zhao did do very well, and the first session especially, I remember being very attacking and very good. Got a bit more tactical as it went on, but you would have expected that. But yeah, it's an enjoyable game, and we'll see what he brings to the Masters.
So we're well, not that we're disagreeing, we just have different opinions on who's going to win that one. But
well, we can't both be wrong with it, can we? If we disagree,
that's true. At least one of us would be right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's a positive way to look at it. Yeah. I believe it's the last match chronologically to be played in the first round. Neil Robertson, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Oh, well, you could argue they're saving the best till last, aren't they? I think this could be such an either way match. I mean, I think everything points to Neil Robertson being the favourite. On paper, he's been playing a lot of snooker. He's warming up for it this week with some Championship League. He's a more recent winner, although he only won it by the one frame against Ronnie in the Saudi final. For me, everything points towards Neil winning this one, but Ronnie's been playing, some good warm-up snooker himself in Ireland this last few days, against Jordan Brown and Aaron Hill, I think, and Fergal's been there as well. So he's putting the work in, and I definitely think he's intending to play. Otherwise, he might still be at home in Dubai. Or Hong Kong, which one Ronnie lives in now. Yes, I think it could be pretty close, but just on recent form and Ronnie's recent form in tournaments, I know every match is different, and Ronnie could come in and fly, and so we could have egg on our faces when we bet against Ronnie, but on this occasion, I think I am going to just slightly favour Neil, probably 6-4-ish.
I also will favour Neil. I think it'll be a bit more comfortable, actually. I think Neil will win this one with something to spare. I think it could be a 6-1, 6-2.
Oh,
And
wow.
we haven't really seen that much of Ronnie.
No,
He
and I
did
think,
well in Saudi Arabia. Was it Jeddah or
yeah,
Riyadh? I think it was Jeddah.
yeah. Um, I think he went out with a little bit of a whimper at the UK Championship, and that was his last outing. Well, we say whimper. It was we hold Ronnie in such high regards, don't we? He lost, I think it was only 6-5 to Zhao Yulong in round one.
Of course, Xiao Yulong. I was thinking who beat him, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a good game, and Zhao did very well. But I think somehow you just expect more of Ronnie, don't you? And he'd obviously come over aiming, he only plays tournaments that he wants to do well in, and I think the UK is one of them. So that would have been very disappointing. He seems to have a love-hate relationship with the Masters. He doesn't seem to like the venue. He does find things to complain about over the years, but
Yes, he does.
I think at the moment we can assume he is coming to play, and it could just inspire him. He needs a bit of something for the season ahead. I mean, in some interviews he's done, he has mentioned that he wouldn't mind another world title. And he hopes to get into a couple of the players' tournaments. So, he's got to start doing a bit well. I know the Masters anyway wouldn't do anything for his ranking, but yeah, I think if he can sort of get going early, then it's Ronnie O'Sullivan. He can rule the roost. But yeah, something tells me that Neil Robertson is playing well lately. Nobody would, take him for granted, and Ronnie won't. But I just somehow fancy Neil a bit more in this one.
Yeah. Yes, the way Neil has played in finals recently, and in some of the bigger events, when he's in the zone, he is untouchable. And you can just see it, the confidence with which he walks around the table. He strides with an authority around the table, and you can just see like he is not missing this shot. He's not missing the next shot. And when he's in that zone, yeah, no one can really, I wouldn't say no one, but it's very difficult to get near him. You have to be on the top of your game to compete with that. I think Neil, yeah, he had that little dry spell for a season or two, but he's won a few big titles recently. He won the English. Okay, maybe not the biggest of titles, but he won that title in Hong Kong. And I think the way he won that in Hong Kong was kind of overshadowed. Okay, he won the final 10-0, but Stuart Bingham was not at the races for a number of reasons. But the way he won the semi-final against Shaun Murphy, which I'm not going to say he had no right to win, but he should not have won. Neil Robertson can compete, he can scrap, he can fight. He's not just a flashy break builder. The guy can compete in all facets of the game. And I really think he's the all-round package. I won't tell you maybe I've just given it away, or who I think will win the Masters. But yeah, I'll just say it now. I think Neil Robertson will end up winning the Masters this season. And I think he'll take out Ronnie O'Sullivan first to do that.
Well, I don't think that's sticking your neck out too much, because when Robbo's playing well, it takes a lot to stop him. So I definitely think you could be onto something by the end of the week.
Kyron Wilson, Se Jiawei.
I think this could be relatively comfortable for Kyron. I'm thinking maybe 6-2, 6-3. I just think, I really like him as a player. I like watching him, but I don't think he's really moved on that much since the Crucible run a couple of years ago. And, he had a run, I think he's had a couple of good runs since he got to the German final. I think he reached a final out in China as well a season or two ago, if memory serves.
I think, yeah, he did.
And I think he reached the semis in Saudi this season or last, which did his rank in the world a good, which is probably why he's top 16 now, because thinking, if you try and just think what he's done in recent times, he doesn't actually seem like he's someone
not
who might
much.
be in the 16 at the moment. So, I, I hope he does well, because he's a really good player, and I loved watching it. That Crucible run and how he played to take that big lead against Luca a few years ago. It was just spellbinding snooker. I think he's becoming, maybe he's taming off them rough edges that why he couldn't get over the line against Luca that time. But he's becoming, maybe he's in the process at the moment of becoming an all-round better player, which undoubtedly he will do. I just don't see that he's doing that much at the moment to trouble Kyron. They're both in the Championship League this week, so they're both, warming up, which I think's good. I'm a little surprised a couple more bigger players didn't take the opportunity with a bit of, league match practice this week. But the ones who have, I certainly think, they'll be at a little bit of an advantage. But yeah, as for this match, I think it could be Kyron 6-2, but I hope it's a bit closer.
Well, yeah, I'd hope for a close match. I don't think we'll get it. I completely agree with you. I think the way Sejaway has, I was honestly surprised to see that he was still in the 16, and I guess it's just one or two tournaments where he's had a good run here and there that is carrying that weight. And he's one of those players that you would say on his day can give anyone a good game, but it seems that those days are becoming fewer and far between. It's just not happening as much anymore.
No, I mean, it's like, like we say, off the top of your head, you can't think of many of those days recently that he's done so well. So it is almost a bit of a surprise that he is a top 16er coming into this. But, hopefully he'll show why he is in the top 16. And on occasions, he's definitely shown it. I think when that German Masters final he reached, was it last season? He beat Judd in the semi-final with a 147 and played absolutely brilliant. So, he's still well capable. I just think he's just destined to be one of these players who's going to be a bit inconsistent with his snooker and with his career as time goes on. But it would be no surprise if, whether it's this week or not, there's going to be a tournament somewhere along the line where he's suddenly in the semi-finals and you think, oh, he's back. Maybe he's just one of them who will always just do enough to keep his ranking high enough, but you never sort of see him. For half the season he'll go missing a bit. But I certainly hope we see more of him, because he's shown what he's capable of over the last few years in spells. And he was one frame away from the world final. As could have been the youngest champion ever. Who knows? But so there's a lot of talent, a lot of ability there, and let's hope he could get inspired maybe by the big crowd at Ali Pali. They certainly love their heroes there, and if he could come up with a bit of naughty snooker, or start with a bit of a century or something, then the crowd would be on his side. Because somehow I don't think Kyron is that much of a crowd favourite, to be honest. I think most general fans you see on Twitter and stuff, they seem as if they can take him or leave him. So if C could sort of start on the good foot and get ahead a bit, maybe he would take the majority of the crowd support, which could spur him on.
I think that would be the more important factor, is how Kyron. I think Kyron will win, and I think we know what we're going to expect from Kyron. Speaking to Taylor Wilson, Kyron is focused. He's been getting some good practice in recently. good competitive preparation for the Masters. And we know what we're going to get from him. The variable factor in this match is Sujaway. If he turns up, it might be a good game. If he doesn't, Kyron will probably win it quite comfortably.
Yeah,
and I think that's what will shape. That's what will make
and
the difference.
If Kyron's happy with his cue now as well, you know what you're going to get. He's solid as a rock, and he's been in 2 finals at the Masters now. He'll certainly want to put this one,
Yes.
add this to the CV. So I think all things point quite well for Kyron in that match, but maybe for the week, I think he's due a run. And, he started the season very well, winning in Shanghai. Gone off the boil somewhat since. I think he's had a few family, personal problems. And then the Q issue at the UK Championship. We'd never seen Kyron that out of sorts, really. But I thought he looked a bit better in Edinburgh. And, playing, like you say, good practice in recent times and in the league this week. So, I think all things, being equal, I think Kyron 6-2.
Yeah, agreed. As I said, one of the standout matches for me, Judd Trump, Ding Junhui.
Absolutely.
I think this... Is it more of a blockbuster than Sean? In terms of star power, yes, it is. Will it be... I think it could be the match with the most century breaks if they're both playing well. I do fancy Judd to win this one, maybe like 6-3 though.
Well, interestingly, on my podcast, I've gone for Ding to win this one. Just because Judd's been a little bit sort of below par, and I mean he's reached 3 finals. This is how well we think of Judd. I mean
this is the standard
reached
we
3
hold him
finals this season, and we're slightly disappointed with his season. I'm sure he is as well. I mean, he would have wanted one of these trophies, and getting so close in the UK, so close in the Champion of Champions. I think even he could live with losing to Jack in Belfast, but he would have wanted one of those other titles for sure. I just hope he isn't carrying disappointment with him at the moment. And I mean, Judd is another one who loves the crowd. I think he really likes Ali Pali. It's one of his favourite tournaments. So if he does get past Ding, then I think he could go on a real run, and who's to say he wouldn't lift the trophy by the end of the week. But I've said Ding's gonna win that one, and I'm gonna stick with it. I'm afraid. I would love. I mean, I'm a great Judd fan. I love to see him doing well. I love to see him playing some naughty snooker, knocking them in from everywhere. And I hope he does. I really do, because any tournament is enhanced by having him playing well in it, and getting to the latter stages. Sadly, I think, well, not sadly, because I don't mind Ding either, but I'm gonna go for Ding on this occasion. I think.
Okay. Ding Junhui.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say maybe 6-3, 6-4.
Okay. I'm trying to think of a pun here for the next match. Mark Williams, Mark Allen. Will it be top marks here? Or,
wow, on your marks.
It's not on your marks. Yeah, it's better than mine. Yeah, actually, yeah. On your marks. Who will get top marks in this match? It's tough. Mark Allen won the English Open, beat Zhao Yulong. That was, my God, that match should have been over 2 hours before. But Zhao Yulong did really well to come back. I
think most of his matches that week could have perhaps been over 2 hours before, but he stuck in there, and he's shown so much heart to keep coming back the way he did. Very disappointing at the UK Championship with the loss to Scott Donaldson. I was in the crowd for that one, and it wasn't an easy watch, let me tell you. I was with I think I was with 3 other people that night, all sat together, and the other 3 left to go over to the Wetherspoons before the end of the match, and I stuck it out. I don't know why, because I wasn't terribly enjoying it, but I just thought, I've lasted, 4.5 hours now. But I did just about make the Wetherspoons for last orders. And so did Mark Allen after he'd lost as well. So
he was in there.
He was in there after he'd lost.
Yeah.
So
some of his matches, they can be a war of attrition for the crowd.
Oh, absolutely. And that wasn't a close match either. I think Scott won that. Was it 6-2? And that was nearly midnight when it ended. So if that had gone 6-5, that could have been a nearly 2 a.m. job. But going back to Mark, he was very disappointing in York. Much better in Edinburgh. Playing with a different cue in Edinburgh that as soon as he lost, he gave to a kid in the crowd.
Yes.
And said he's planning to go back to his old cue, which was having some work done on it. So I hope he's happy with his going back to his cue now, and he's got the work done on it that he wants. I'm sure he'll have had his head down this week with practice. For me, it's one of the hardest matches to call because, on his day, Mark Williams can be absolutely brilliant, could win 6-1. You don't ever think he's past his peak at all. You'd never think he was a man of 50, would you? But Mark Allen, I just think he's got some green shoots of recovery there after his performance in Edinburgh, albeit with a different cue. And I have just chosen Allen to win the Battle of the Marks. But again, another close game, 6-4. And it could easily be Mark Williams. I think a lot of these matches and, a lot of these podcasts this week what's the point of us all trying to predict what's going to happen? Because chances are it'll be the complete opposite. But we have fun with it, so we'll keep going. But very hard to call. I think Mark can't be any worse than he was at York, whatever cue he's using. So Mark Allen 6-4 for me.
No, I think there is something to be. You said green shoots of recovery for Mark Allen, and okay, he's a tournament winner this season. But yeah, he had a poor UK Championship. It happens sometimes, fine, and it seems that there might have been a reason why he's struggled a bit recently. But when the pressure moments come, and seeing it in Brentwood, 8-8 against Zhao Yulong, who has made a almost miraculous comeback, but Mark Allen, one chance in that deciding frame, he knocks in, I think it was a 62 break. And from there, he is not just in pole position, but he's pole position and his opponent has a 10-second penalty. It's when that key moment came, he delivered and he was calm. He did not look like missing.
Yeah, and he's going to deliver as well at the biggest moments.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's got that on his side. I'm a great fan of Mark Allen, actually. I'd love to see him do well again here. One thing that worries me slightly is, although, we say he's got all the bottle in the world and all the ability in the world, really. One thing that worries me slightly is quite often these days, even when he is winning and doing quite well, he doesn't seem to be playing that well anymore, which I know that's the shift over to the tactical game that he's taken on a bit more. And in Edinburgh, he said his focus was going to be on being a bit more attacking and not get a bit bogged down, which I think he did do well. I enjoyed watching him in Edinburgh. So let's hope he carries on like that, because he probably doesn't enjoy, these 40-minute frames. And I mean, even if he'd won, when he played Scott Donaldson, and I know Scott is another player who most matches probably will get a bit bogged down. But I can't, even if Mark was winning, I can't imagine Mark enjoys every frame like that. So, and he's such a natural talent. It's what got him up the rankings in the first place. So, yeah, I'd just like to see him carry on being a bit more positive, a bit more attacking, go for it a little bit more. But know that he's got it in the tank to shut up shop when he needs to. And, you know, in the Masters against the best in the world, you are going to have to shut up shop sometimes. But, you know, he's got a lot of attacking natural ability and, you know, let's see him use it.
Well said. Well said. I can't, yeah, you're right. I can't imagine that if he's in a best of 11 match, and it could be, just say 10 frames out of the 11 are played, and it's 30, 40 minutes a frame. It's just like, how can, and you can see your opponent or one of your rivals on the next table, and they're knocking in a 6-1 victory, and they're out of there in 2 hours. And you know that you're going to be there for about 4 hours, maybe more. Like, physically, that's not sustainable, especially over a tournament like the World Championship. And that's his
absolutely.
ambition.
And, you know, he did, well, that's a great example, actually, at the World Championship. I don't believe you can go through the World Championship with that kind of game. I think Jack Jones did very well. He was similar a few years back and reached the final. But then he didn't have anything left in the tank against Kyron in the final. I mean, having said that, Mark Williams plays a great game, and he didn't have anything left in the tank last year for the final. So, you know, there are many different ways to win tournaments. But you know, I think if you've got that ability to pop balls, I know how difficult it is from trying myself in recent times. And I do think my safety and tactical side has improved a lot, but the potting side is a slow work in progress. But Mark can do it. So if you can do it, please do it, because I don't want to see anybody not potting when they've got the ability to do so.
We're both going for Mark Allen there.
I think so.
Maybe not one of the blockbuster matches, probably not the match that jumps out at the audience, but probably one of the most intriguing and interesting matchups, John Higgins, Barry Hawkins. John has won, he hasn't won this in, God knows how long, well over a decade, probably 15 years since he's won the Masters, maybe more. Barry Hawkins, when did he make the final? A couple of years ago?
Oh, he's reached two finals,
though, hasn't
he? Yeah. He was runner-up to Robertson more recently, I think. No, was that the last one or the first one? Did he lose the final to Judd? No, that was the UK Championship.
Wikipedia this right now as we record. So career finals,
but anyway, his record's really good, because I think he's lost a couple of semi-finals as well over the years, Barry. Just hasn't quite got over the line to take one of these big triple crowns. So like you say, it'll be very interesting against John, because John's got all the pedigree, but this isn't one of his favourite tournaments, it seems. He's only won it twice over the years, which would be a record most players would love to have. But, and I think I read somewhere, or maybe Dave Hendon said, that half the times he's ever played at the Masters, John has lost in the opening match.
First round, yeah.
Which seems a bit of an incredible record, really. But we think back to last year, and he had that 5-1 lead against Neil Robertson on the first day and lost 6-5. So I think anything can happen. But Barry is certainly no pushover, and you know, nobody takes him lightly. He might not have the trophy cabinet of some, but apart from your Ronnies and your very elite, Barry's in the very next rung down for me. He's, you know, he's well capable of winning any tournament. Why he hasn't quite, I'm still not really sure. Maybe there's just something missing when it gets to the very end of tournaments near to trophy time. But you look at players who he's lost to in these big finals. Ronnie in the world final, Neil, Judd. It's not like he's lost to some pushovers and it was an upset.
Yeah.
He's lost to some of the best who've ever picked up a cue. So, but going back to this match with John, I actually think Barry might come through this one. John, although he certainly could as well. I don't know. I just think because of his Masters record, he hasn't seemed to show so much in recent times. I think he went out a little bit earlier than he would have wanted in Edinburgh, and Barry is always the ever consistent. So I just think Barry for this one. I'm maybe gonna say 6-4. I think a lot of my score predictions are 6-4. But 6-4 means I don't really know what's going to happen. But
yeah, it's like the hedging your bets.
I'm gonna say Barry 6-4 just because. Why not?
No, I also think Barry will have a little bit too much of his record at the Masters. Okay, he's not won it, but 2 finals. The other final was against Ronnie O'Sullivan, so he's lost 10-1 and 10-4 in Masters finals. So when he gets to the finals, he hasn't really competed, but he's made a couple of other later rounds as well. You can never bet against him because he's really good.
He's so good.
He's really good.
He's
and he's
really
such a nice
good.
bloke.
Yeah,
No one wants him to lose.
I think he's not someone who has fans on his side like Ronnie or, maybe the class of 92 boys. They always get the crowd on their side. But I don't think Barry's quite like that. But there's nobody who doesn't like him. He's such a likeable guy, and you never hear him speak out about anything. And he's just a nice person, and I think everybody would be really happy if he did win one of the Triple Crowns sometime. And if he gets past John and comes through that, who's to say it won't be this week? He could certainly, on his day, he can certainly rip through the draw. I don't quite think he'll go to the title, but I certainly think he can beat John.
And the last match, the reigning, defending snooker world champion against Gary Wilson.
Yes.
This is his second time at the Masters, I believe, Gary Wilson.
Gary, he was there last year. I think he came in as a replacement in the COVID year when it was at Milton Keynes.
Of course,
but
it
was no crowd or anything. So last year was his sort of.
You're right.
Was it last year? Was his debut with all the bows and whistles? So
I think that's actually correct. Yes.
Yeah. So Gary will be looking forward to it. Although, funnily enough, just earlier today, I was watching some of the Championship League, and he was really on his own case, how he gets sometimes. He wasn't happy, and this is only the Championship League. I know pride of performance and everything, but he was really getting on his own back when things weren't going for him in the frames I saw today. So he needs to get that out of his system, I think, before his match with Zhao Xingtong, because that's a massive occasion. And I think Zhao, the way he plays the game is so easy on the eye and attractive to watch. I think if he starts well and knocks a few in, I think the crowd could easily be on Zhao's side because they love to watch that kind of snooker. And I just hope that it doesn't all sort of get to Gary. But having said that, Zhao hasn't done particularly well this season. I know he's won the Saudi Invitational, which was excellent. But in the ranking events and in most events, he hasn't really. He's flattered to deceive a little bit. I think we all expected more of him at the start of the season. So I've actually tipped Gary to win this game. I don't know whether that's a little bit of madness on my part, probably. Because I'm a big fan of Zhao Xingtong as well. I just think the way he won at the Crucible last year, and I remember that UK final when he beat Luca a few years ago as well. He
Yeah.
was just absolutely tremendous snooker, and so I'm a sucker for that kind of snooker, especially when I'm in the crowd for it. So I love watching him play. I'm a big fan. I'd love to see him do well. But somehow he just hasn't really produced too much this season. So before today, I was thinking I think Gary can win this one. But having seen Gary and his fragile mental side in the Championship League today, I'm tempted to go back towards Xingtong and say, oh yes, I think he'll win it. So can we call it a draw?
Call it a draw, 5-5. We'll say that 5.5 each.
No, I'm just because I've said Gary originally, I'm gonna stick with him. I'm gonna say hit him 6-4. But I do think Zhao. It's just the kind of arena that he could be inspired to play his best snooker. There'll be, I think that's an evening match. I think, is it not? Monday night, that one. So yeah, the nighttime match as well. Maybe they've had a few beers, and I think that could be quite rowdy. And if they are on Xingtong's side, that could be a great atmosphere. So I hope Xingtong plays well, and I'd probably prefer him to win that one. But I have tipped Gary, so I'm going to stick with him.
You used an expression there, pride of performance, and I think all of the players, no matter what it is, even if it is the Championship League, it's not the biggest tournament in the world, but you want to win, especially someone like Gary Wilson. Like he is, I use the term, and it is a compliment, a belligerent competitor.
Oh, absolutely.
And I mean that in the nicest and most positive way. Like you need to be competitive in sports, and I do think when it comes down to the fighting side of snooker, he has it in him. He will not be pushed over. He will not be bullied.
No,
and
absolutely.
I think it was Dave Hendon said he doesn't fear anyone because Gary Wilson is a bloody good snooker player. He is an excellent break builder. His long shots are good, and he is smart as hell on the table. He knows how to play the game. And when you see him off the table, he seems to have... I've never actually spoken to Gary Wilson, but he seems to have a great sense of humour. He takes the game seriously when he's playing, but off and when he's practicing. But he seems to have, just a great sense of humour, and he seems like a really nice bloke. And, okay, he's not the most famous snooker player on the tour, but he can beat anyone. We hear about him seeking advice from more senior and more successful players. How can I improve my game? Just like trying to pick up these extra those marginal gains that will just push him to the next level. He's a 3-time ranking event winner. He made another big final earlier this season and was really close to picking up another trophy. I don't think he can be discounted, but I don't think he'll win this match. I don't think Gary Wilson can be overlooked very often, but I think this is one of the occasions where I think he can be. I don't think he'll come through this match. And I think the fact that the crowd, this is the reigning world champion at the Masters, I think people are going to be excited to see this guy play. Maybe they haven't seen him before, and it could be their first chance to see Zhao Xingtong in London playing at the Masters. Like this is, it's a big occasion, and
it's definitely a big occasion. And for Gary's won a few tournaments and done some good things in the game, but I think even in his career, this is a big occasion. Just being at the Masters is a big occasion, and arguably he's a little bit lucky to be in this year because he isn't officially in the top 16 after Edinburgh. but the
Of course, yes.
the cut-off was before, so he's in, and I'm sure he'll want to make the very most of it. And whether it does go his way or not against Zhao, like you say, it's a big occasion, and it's big money. Just being there, I think first round losers get 25k, which
is that all?
is, which
Just for turning up.
It's better than a kick in the teeth. I'm sure he'll want to make the very most of the opportunity, and although he'll be as intense as ever once the match is underway, I'm sure he'll go out trying to enjoy it, and because I think he's got a great game when he's on song and he isn't down on himself or beating himself up. I think he's really good to watch, and that's why I've just slightly favoured him to take this one, just because of Zhao's a little bit in and out form. But don't forget that Zhao is the world champion, and like we say, the crowd I think will be more on his side. And I think this, like you say, I think was it this one? It wasn't. It was the Higgins game you said it about. But I think this game is a little bit of an underrated one when you look at the draw. There's other ones that stand out more, but this could be one of the really good ones to watch, I think, because two attractive attacking players. There won't be a lot of safety involved, and I'm looking forward to that one.
Just a little side point on Gary Wilson. In terms of his attire when he's playing, he's a little bit more adventurous with the waistcoats. We're not talking out there waistcoats, but it's just a little bit of design, a little bit of flair on the waistcoats, and I really like it. And I think it does speak about his personality.
I think
on the table he's serious, but off the table he seems like a nice guy, good sense of humour, likes to laugh.
That black waistcoat with the bit of a pattern on the back, I'm not so keen on that, to be honest. But like you say, it's good that he shows personality, and I do like those sparkly shoes he wears. So yeah.
Yes, of course, the sparkly shoes. I don't know. It's just a bit of fun, isn't it?
Yeah. I really like those shoes, and I'm sure they'll be making the trips to Ali Pali. So
I hope so.
Bring it on.
I hope so. So we've covered the 8 matches. We've made our predictions. I've already spoiled who I think is going to win the Masters 2026. If you had to name one player who you think will lift the Paul Hunter Trophy, give me a name right now.
Mark Allen.
Mark Allen.
I'm going for him to come back with a bit of form, and I think he's gonna, especially if he's got the cue right. I mean, you make a case for 10 or 12 players to win it next week.
Yeah,
they're all
that's
that good.
That's the joy of it. That's the joy of it. It's fantastic.
I'm somehow just going to go for Mark Allen to overcome his, recent troubles, cue troubles. I think Neil Fold said the other day on the Talking Snooker podcast, why are all these players changing cues when they don't need to? I mean, Judd's the case in point, really. I mean, there was absolutely nothing wrong with his cue. Said he needed more power. Well, I mean, if he needs more power, then everyone's in trouble.
Yeah, then he sees something that no one else sees.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's
which
why
maybe might be
that's
true.
That's why they're where they are.
Yeah.
But I think if Mark Allen can sort of get on a roll, start playing the good snooker that we talked about, the more attractive to watch snooker, and probably more enjoyable to play as well, rather than the Peter Ebdon style of snooker. Then Mark Allen, why not? I think that almost guarantees Mark Williams will beat him in the first round.
Well, that's the way it goes, yeah. But it's an interesting shout, and I haven't heard many people say that. But again, it's not, when you actually think about it, it's not that outlandish a prediction. It's like, he's a really good player. He's won it before, and if he does play well, yeah, he's got a shot of beating anyone.
Absolutely.
In
Yeah.
terms of mental fortitude, he does not lack
No.
bottle.
No.
So
I mean, you if he gets to the final and it's sort of 8-all and it's getting tense, you'd have your house on him, really, wouldn't you? Whoever it's against.
yeah. But you're going to a few days in the Masters, the beginning and the semi-final Saturday. You said.
Yes,
What other?
those first 3 days, and then I'm very lucky. I'm on semi-final Saturday. I'm going to be in the Century Club,
Ooh,
experiencing that for the first time ever. So I'm really looking forward to that. Um, I haven't paid for it myself, I have to say. My friend had a big birthday last year, and family all clubbed together and got her 2 tickets to the Century Club. And for some reason, she's asked me along. So, yeah, that was one I couldn't say no to. So, yeah, looking forward
oh
to
no, you
that
have
day.
to. Hmm. And have you got any other tournaments lined up for the rest of the season?
I usually go to the Welsh Open, but I'm not this season, unfortunately. I've sort of put the annual leave and the money for that into entering these tournaments myself. So after the Masters, I won't be going to anything until Sheffield. Are you over this time?
For the Masters, no, I'm not going this year. I will be. My next tournament is German Masters, Berlin.
Oh wow, wow.
So I'm going to the final of that. My mum's flying over from London to
Oh
Berlin, so I'm going to
wonderful.
take her.
Oh,
That'll be
that's
her first
guaranteed a
time at the
147
temperature.
then.
Absolutely, exactly. And she'll get maybe someone will have a dartboard in the foyer, and they'll hit a 9-dart finish on that as well, because she seems to get lucky with that kind of thing.
Bring her
Yeah.
to the Crucible, that's what I say.
Well, I actually think about. I'm heading up. I'm heading to the Crucible. I won't. For me this year, I'm not doing any of the early rounds. I'm just doing the 4 sessions of the final. That's it,
Oh wow.
and that's it for me. I'll be arriving on the Friday in Sheffield, and I'll be leaving on the Tuesday. That's it. So I'll do a day in Sheffield, and maybe I'll do some hiking in some of the
Oh,
parks nearby.
yeah.
But then on the Sunday and the Monday, it's just in the Crucible and the Graduate, and that's it.
Well,
It's
I was gonna say, I'm sure we'll have our annual catch up in the Graduate.
oh yeah, I hope so. I hope so, and I'm really looking forward to it. But no, it's only a couple of tournaments for me this spring. Maybe I'll try and hit a few more next season. But oh well, actually, I've got Belfast lined up already. Actually, I've never actually been to Belfast,
Oh, it's a great
so I thought
city
if I'm
actually.
yeah, everyone
You'll enjoy Belfast. It's a great city. Good for a night out. And the venue's one of the best on the circuit, the waterfront. So yeah, go and experience that. It's yeah.
well, I thought if I'm going to visit the city, I might as well do it while there's another reason to go. So I'll go
Oh,
for the open
absolutely.
for the final of
Yeah,
that, and yeah, everyone tells me yeah, Belfast is a good weekend. So
definitely. Yeah.
no, I'm looking forward to that. Kelly, thanks for your time. I wish you every bit of luck for your snooker escapades. No, that's not the right word. Adventures, your snooker
Advent
adventures. I hope it
adventures
goes
is
well.
the word, I think. Yeah, I'm not. Like I say, I'm not expecting to win or whether I even do any kind of well. Um, but yeah, it's an experience, and just looking forward to getting the waistcoat on and competing. It'll be lovely. I'm really looking forward to it. Something different after watching snooker for all these years. I want to be a snooker player for a couple of weekends. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
And well, yeah. And so, do you know what? More than wishing you luck, I hope you enjoy it because why not? Well, it could be the best. Yeah, as I said, it could be the best thing you ever did. So why not?
Will you have me
So
back on the podcast if I become the Ladies British Open champion?
well, if you have the time to come back on the podcast, yes, you might be too big a deal to come on
Oh, never.
this. Yeah, it's well, I appreciate you being so modest about that. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, um, yeah. Well, I hope you enjoy that. I hope you enjoy the Masters
Thank you.
and the experience at Alexandra Palace. Enjoy the Century Club. That does sound good. And
And I'll see you
you're
at
always welcome
Sheffield.
back on in the Graduate or in the Crucible. Sounds
Wonderful.
good.
Great. I'll look forward to it.
Thanks for your time, Kelly.
Cheers, Dan. Take care.